So interest rates are constantly rising. The cost of everything is pretty much going up. And if you're a homeowner that's in need for extra cash just to be prepared for whatever else might happen or however worse this might get, then you're in the right place. Now, just a quick Google search of likelihood of an economic collapse will bring up results like this, saying that there is a 64% chance of a contracting economy by the end of 2023. And you will also see other results that definitely all say that it is above a 50% chance of this happening. Now, if you have some savings, you might be a little bit better off, but according to studies in 2022, Americans reported saving an average of $5,000 in their overall savings accounts. Those ages 11 to 26 reported saving about $5,800. Those aged 27 to 42 reported an average of about $6,000 in savings. And that's most of you guys that follow this channel. And those of us that are between the ages of 43 and 58 reported an overall savings of a little bit less than $4,000. Now, looking at those averages and you taking an inventory of where your personal savings is, do you have as much money saved up as the average person in your age range has? And if you do, is that enough money to cover your monthly expenses for the next 6 to 12 months if the economic collapse did happen in the way that it has been projected to happen? Now, I know all this can sound scary, but I definitely don't want to scare you, but I do want to make sure that you are thinking about everything that's happening around you so that you can be best prepared for whatever might happen. Now, if you are a homeowner, I'm going to show you one of the best options that you might have to get access to some emergency cash funds in case you do need it, and I'm going to tell you why you need to jump on it ASAP in just a second. I'm also going to tell you about the best way to use this resource and how to get the best terms and rate on it as well if you stick through the entire video. Now, real quick, I'm going to tell you a brief shortened version of a story that you might have already heard that's going to help you get the most out of this funding option that you're going to have. Now, some of you might have heard of King Midas, who had the golden touch, and he wanted the ability to be able to touch anything and turn it into gold because his mind was focused solely on wealth and having things, money, and all of that. Now, when he made this wish to get the golden touch and be able to turn everything that he wanted into gold, he did not take into consideration just how this might affect him in totality. And as a result of him not thinking critically and looking at all of the factors involved, he ended up getting what he wanted, the ability to turn anything into gold, but with that came the fact that he was unable to touch anything without turning it into gold. Now, this really messed him up when he ended up touching his daughter and turning her into gold too. So what can we learn from this? Basically, even though we're trying to get access to money here that can help us out eventually, you don't want to not think about all of the factors involved so that you can make sure that you're critically thinking and making the right decision for you and your financial situation. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the vehicle that you're going to use to get access to these funds, and that is going to be a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. Now, I'm going to explain to you exactly what that is if you've never heard of it before, and I'm going to show you exactly how to use it to get the best benefit of it and to get it at the best rate and terms for you. Now, first, let me show you exactly how this would work so you can see how much you can actually get access to from taking this option. So a home equity line of credit is based off of the equity in your home. So let's take a look at this example. So if you had a home that was worth $500,000 and your mortgage balance is $350,000. So the home is worth $500,000 and you only owe $350,000. The difference between that $350,000 and the $500,000 is your equity. So that would be $150,000. Now, as far as doing a home equity line of credit, let's say you wanted to take out $50,000, which should be a sizable amount, a good amount to hold people over in case anything were to happen, and to know that you have a nice amount of money there to cover your monthly expenses for a while. So you take that out for $50,000, and then the amount of equity you would have left in your home is $100,000. Now, you can take almost all of the equity out of your home depending on what lender you go to and all of that. You can get anywhere from 75%, 80%, 85%, all depending on where you go to actually get that home equity line of credit. And now the reason why I was saying you want to jump on this opportunity as soon as you can is because it is based on equity, which is tied to the value of your home. Over the past few years, home prices, values that is, have been increasing significantly. And because of interest rates being raised and everything going on with the economy, that has not only hindered the growth of values of homes, but once the economy does start to go down, it will also start to drop the value of your home, which would lower the equity in your home. And if you found out that, oh, I need to go ahead and get some extra money, and you try to do this at a later time, you would end up being limited as to how much you can get compared to how much you would have been able to get when your home was worth more. So it's better to take advantage of the opportunity now while the values are high versus waiting until later and seeing you actually need it and then getting less money than you would have gotten during the current time. Now, one of the benefits of a HELOC is going to be the fact that it is a revolving line of credit, meaning that it is something that you can draw from and you can pay it back and then you can use it again as many times as you need to within the draw period. Now, the draw period is a certain amount of time that the lender would give you, usually somewhere between 5 to 10 years maybe, that you can use the line of credit as much as you want to, and you would only pay interest in most cases on those balances that you would have. But the real beauty in a home equity line of credit being a revolving line of credit is that if you don't use it, you don't pay anything for it at all. So you can essentially have access to this money and not have to pay anything on it unless you actually need to use it. Now, you will of course have to go through the steps that it takes to go ahead and initiate it, apply for it, and get the home equity line of credit. But after that, you have access to a safety net of money that you can use at any point in time if you need to. So what's the best way to go about trying to get a HELOC, and how do you get the best rates and the best terms on them? First, I'm going to show you what the current rates are out there for HELOCs, and then I'm going to show you how you can get the best rate. So currently, right now, you can see that a 10-year HELOC is going for about 6.99%. And let's say you had a $25,000 balance on your HELOC. So during the draw phase, you would only be paying interest, and that looks like about $145 a month. So if you did have to use $25,000 out of your home equity line of credit, you would only be paying back about $145 a month during the draw phase. Now, if you got a 20-year HELOC, the interest rate on that is 8.15. And on that same $25,000, you'll be paying almost $170 a month to pay that back. Now, again, these are the average rates. So remember, that's almost 7% for a 10-year and a little bit above 8% for a 20-year. Now, I'm going to put a link down in the description to this resource, Super Money, which has a comparison which can give you different options for a home equity line of credit. And you can see here, while they do have some lenders at the average rate or above the average rate, you can see they also have some that are under that average rate as well. You see 3.25%, 3.5%, 4%, 3.2%. So it is options out there that they have that you can get at a lower percentage. Now, another thing that you want to pay attention to is this term right here, variable APR. Now, there are some options out there that are variable APR, and a lot of them for HELOCs are going to be variable. Variable means that you will get a changing interest rate. So when the Fed increases interest rates, it's possible to see an interest rate increase on your home equity line of credit, and that new interest rate would apply at that time. But if you get options that are fixed, which are a little bit harder to find, but if you get a fixed APR, like some of these that are available here on the site, you will be able to lock in the rate that you have and be able to hold on to it regardless of what is actually going on with the changes in rates. And you can see here, this is one at 3.5% with a starting fixed APR as well. Now, the alternative to going to a site like this is calling your mortgage company, calling a bunch of different companies and rate shopping to see what they have and what's available and seeing if they have fixed or variable terms. Or you can just go straight to a website and get all of the information from different lenders in one place. And also, when you click the link down below, it might take you to the site and only have one option here, but all you really have to do is click on one of the options up here on one of the tabs and then go back to home equity line of credit, and then you will see all of the options that I showed you already, and you can see everything that's available to you. So a question you might have is, how do you qualify for a home equity line of credit? Well, again, you would apply with a mortgage lender and they will tell you what options they have for you. But as far as credit score goes, you do kind of need to have your credit in a good place, but but there are some options that will work for you even if you don't have perfect credit. I would say, as far as having your credit in a decent place, we're talking about, maybe around 680, 650 or better. But like I said, there are some options that might be able to approve you even if you're under the 650. It's all about seeing what options are out there, which is why I recommend you going to Super Money, because you can compare all of the different places in one place without having to do a whole bunch of calling around. By all means, do what's best for you. And if you're in a position where your credit is just kind of down there, like it's below the 600s, and you really want to get it up before trying to do something, just know on this channel I do have a bunch of free information to help you guys to improve your credit score, and then you will be able to take advantage of something like this. I actually did a series that tells you step by step in each video how to go about getting your credit to a better place from A to Z. So definitely check that out if you need some help. But just know the reason why some lenders might work with you even if your credit isn't 100% perfect is because your line of credit is being secured by the home. So that gives the lender a little bit more comfort because they know that the line of credit is secured by something. And speaking of the line of credit being secured by your home, let's actually talk about some of the things that could go wrong and how to prevent them, and exactly how you should be using this home equity line of credit. So because this is secured by your home, of course, if you end up not paying back the money, you do end up being at risk of defaulting on your loan or getting a foreclosure. Also, if you plan on selling your home, and if you don't plan on selling your home, this doesn't apply to you, but if you do plan on selling your home at some point, if you have a whole bunch of debt that you accumulated on the line of credit and the value of your home decreases, then you could end up upside down on your home. Of course, that would make your home hard to sell, but again, that's why we're going to talk about what to do to prevent you from being in that situation. Because the only way you would be in that situation is if you end up having a whole lot of extra debt that's sitting there, but there is some good debt and some bad debt, and knowing that is going to help you make a better decision on how you actually use this. So to save yourself from any worries, remember that anytime you try to use debt, it is like a loan or something like that, you always want to use debt for something that will give you a return on investment if it is not for emergency purposes, emergency situations like a crisis happening where you need to make sure your bills are covered for the next few months. And in this instance, with the home equity line of credit, the best thing that you can do is reserve some of the money, of course, for emergencies. Because of the possible equity amounts that might be in your home, you can also use a good portion of the money towards a business and getting a business started. So if you have some type of business idea that you already were thinking about actually implementing, now would actually be a great time to do it, because starting a business brings in extra money. If you're already working a job that maybe isn't enough money coming in, you can start a business and then start bringing in extra money to supplement that. If you already have a job that's making good money, then you can have more security in knowing that you have already started the phases of building up a business, and you have a good bit of funding to back up the business just in case you need it. And it's always going to be worth it as long as you are taking calculated risks, like we were talking about earlier, and learning everything you need to learn about business. And again, using this as a way to bring in extra money. And if you didn't know, or if you're currently thinking that business is less secure than a job is, then you might not have seen the news where a lot of these big tech companies, which were the highest earning companies in the US, basically they have had to lay off and let go of a lot of people, and they are the highest earning jobs that are out there in the country. So knowing that lets you know that nobody is pretty much safe as far as job goes. So having your own income that you control and figuring out how to get that set up now is going to be key to making sure that you and your family is secure going forward into the foreseeable future. And again, just like with anything, you want to make sure that you're educated on what you're doing before you do it. And if you guys actually do want to start a business, I do have a free Facebook group where I do provide free education for those that are trying to get started in business. And I would always recommend that when you're getting started in business, that you always get education and information, because I've been in business for 10 years and I've tried to do it all on my own without really having much guidance, just going off of my MBA thinking that was enough. And then I ended up seeing that I actually needed more guidance on how to apply what I learned and how to make the rubber meet the road, and actually see some practical steps taken that actually started to get me results. And once I started paying for information, getting courses and training and stuff like that, that's when I got in the right direction and I started to see more profits. So it's always going to pay to get some type of education. So do that if you do plan on using this for a business and getting an increase in your income and having a second vehicle for income that is more secure than an actual job. And by the way, if you've been here throughout the video, I'm going to assume that you are still getting a lot of value from this video. And if you don't mind, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button to let YouTube know that you did like this video so that it can show this video and give this same value that you are receiving to other people that are out there. So again, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me and subscribe to the channel if you want to continue to get more information like this. And also, if you do go and join my Facebook group, and one of the questions, make sure that you mention that you saw this video, and I'll actually hook you up with one of my courses that I have for those that are getting started in business. It will get you in the right direction, and I will give you a significant discount on that. So if you check out the Facebook group, let me know you saw this video about HELOCs and I will hook you up. And now, outside of the business or investing some of the money in something that will get you a return on your investment, I want you to make sure that you do allocate a certain amount out of the money that you get from the HELOC that you have there to cover a certain amount of your expenses that you might have, just in case things do go awry. You still have that emergency amount of money there that will be there to help you out if you need it. And again, if you never end up using the HELOC at all, it still won't be a loss because you don't have to pay any balance that you haven't created, unlike getting a cash out refinance where it's actually a loan. You have to pay that set amount every month, no matter if you use the money or not. So again, getting something like this is usually going to be better. Now, again, those of you guys that have trouble with your credit and you don't think this is going to be an option for you, I want you to check out this next video because it's going to show you what you need to do to start getting your credit on track. This is the series I was telling you about, and if you follow the series, you'll learn everything you need to learn about getting your credit to the next level. I thank you guys for sticking around in the video, and I'll see you next time.